can, I just want to make sure
No,
it's
it's no
good on mic and
Sure.
right there. Let me just hear you, Bill.
Test 1, 2, 1, 2, test. Testing? Testing 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, level. Level,
Okay.
test.
All right, so there you go, Bill. All right.
We hear you, Vince.
We're here at Jazz Live San Diego with
Okay.
Bill
And Bill,
Yeager.
one more time.
Oh, one more time for me?
Okay.
Testing, here we are.
All right.
So Bill,
Thank you very much. All right, ready?
Yeah, so wait one second. So Bill, the program says William
Yeah.
Yeager. You're Bill Yeager,
That's
right?
right.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that really surprised me.
Yeah,
You know, it's a funny thing though, because on if I'm performing on a classical record, I'm almost always listed as William.
Oh,
And on a jazz or commercial record, I'm always listed as Bill. It's just the
William
way-
is very hoity-toity.
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that a funny thing though?
that is.
Because I can only think of about 3 or 4 classical records that I play on that they're all William.
Well, that's because we're doing Tchaikovsky tonight.
I guess so. That's true.
All right. Okay.
So you're William.
Yeah. So I guess I'll be William.
All right.
No, but
Ready to go?
yeah, Bill on the air.
Okay. Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, hold on.
We're here at Jazz Live San Diego with Bill Yeager. Bill, welcome to Jazz Live San Diego.
Hey, thanks a lot.
So, really honored to have you here, professor of music, director of jazz studies at San Diego State University. Played with a lot of stars like Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, founder of the Los Angeles Jazz Workshop. Again, it's just an honor to have you here and doing this. Tonight, you put together a band that's playing the Ellington Strayhorn Nutcracker. How familiar were you with this music before you were asked to do this?
Well, I'm a brass player, and so I've probably played Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite almost every Christmas since I was in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been the first time I've done the Ellington arrangement, though.
So, are there particular challenges doing work like this that you haven't done, haven't led in a big band? What would some of those be, if there are?
Well, with a band like this, where you basically have all the best players in San Diego, pretty much, and 2 coming down from Los Angeles, actually, to do this, and then I was able to get the music to them ahead of time, and so they were able to take a look at it, and everybody, came prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been rather seamless, actually. Matter of fact, maybe the rehearsals went too easily.
Oh, a little overconfident for the show?
I actually just said that to the band.
Don't be overconfident. So, how did you put together this band? This is not a kind of a typical working band. This is a bunch of people. How did you go about putting together this San Diego AllStar band?
Yeah. My first thought was to use the college band.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started, they just really had too much going on to add this on there. So then the idea, talking with Ken, was to go ahead and put out, I did it via email, basically. I emailed everybody and then just started getting responses of who was available and who's not. And I think I got the A team, which is pretty exciting.
Was the music, the charts that you were using, the Ellington Strayhorn charts, did they call for a particular set of musicians? Like you needed this many trumpets, this many, and...
Yes. And the most difficult parts are definitely the woodwind parts. There's a preponderance of clarinet, and there's some difficult piccolo also on this. So the woodwind players are having to play all their doubles, and not as much saxophone as they normally would.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's probably the most challenging part. I was able to get Richard Thompson, who I teach with at San Diego State, to do the Duke Ellington piano parts. And interesting, he grew up in Scotland, and his father, this Ellington suite on the Nutcracker, was one of his very favorite pieces, and so he grew up listening to this since he was like 5, 6 years old.
Wow, and then now finally gets to be able to play it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. You played in your college days at the University of North Texas, the leading institution for jazz, and the first one that ever had a jazz studies degree and program in the country. And you were the lead trombonist in the 1 o'clock lab band, their premier band, and I was so fantastic to hear that because that band consistently is a great band. Was Ellington Strayhorn music part of the studies there at University of North Texas and the work that you did with that band?
Yes. One thing about having a college band, in the same thing as San Diego State, is that you are able to play all the music from all the different composer arrangers, and so you can't really not do it, at least an Ellington tune every concert, or you say the same thing about Count Basie, or a lot of the big bands. I guess I enjoy that aspect of being able to do a broad number of composers, because in Los Angeles, when I play in the different bands there, it would usually just be all one person's writing, and that would be the leader's writing. But if you had to pick someone, I believe Duke Ellington published over 2,000 pieces of music in his lifetime, probably the most prolific jazz composer of the 20th century. And the thing about Duke's music too is he loved to collaborate, and that's really what this Nutcracker suite is, a collaboration with Billy Strayhorn. And I think Billy Strayhorn was probably his favorite composer to collaborate with. But he loved to write with other people, like Caravan with Juan Tizol, and we were doing another one, Man and His Horn with Rex Stewart. I find that interesting because he would combine the talents of other people with his obvious genius of writing as maybe the most important composer arranger of the 20th century, certainly in jazz.
Right, and yes, quite a collaboration team, probably one of the biggest collaboration teams, Ellington and Strayhorn in jazz.
And this is the Strayhorn Centennial.
Strayhorn Centennial, yes,
Yeah.
It's the 100th anniversary of his birth. And Ellington himself was, really enjoyed writing these extended pieces and playing these suites and that part of his writing. Well, I'd like to just talk a little bit about the Jazz Studies program out at San Diego State, and you and your position there as a professor of music and director of Jazz Studies. Can you give us a kind of a state of the Jazz Studies program there? How are things going out there?
Well, I can't believe that this is the end of my my 31st year. Wow. As director of the program. And it just seems like we keep maintaining. I keep thinking I'm going to have a rebuilding year, and it just never seems to happen. I keep getting new blood into the program, and which keeps it exciting and keeps me from wanting to retire, quite frankly. As long as I have such great musicians to work with, I'd probably do it for free.
Have there been any changes as of late in the program? New types of curriculum or other things that you're doing to adapt to changes in music and the music business even?
Yeah, we have a new degree, which is like an entrepreneurial degree in music, business. Right? We have a recording arts degree. And we have our composition degree is now more of a world composition, a global composition we call it. And yes, the school does have to adapt. There's no doubt about that. And there is more in our general education courses. Or like I teach a class now in American popular music, where I have 500 online students a semester. And that is, the online classes are getting to be very important in general education. Our music major classes, that's not really appropriate.
Right. So the students, the student body or the makeup of the students, are you recruiting or are you getting students from outside of the San Diego, Southern California area that are coming into the program? What's the mix?
Well, you're going to have California kids mostly because of the in-state tuition break.
Mm-hmm.
But we get quite a few out-of-state kids and some out of the country. But yeah, you know, it's a funny thing, distance-wise. Kids in Northern California really like to come to San Diego State. It's just far enough away from their parents that they get a little of that freedom as opposed to going to school in their hometown.
Mm-hmm. So does the program have any upcoming events or things that you'd like to kind of mention that people may be able to go attend? Or
Well, we just finished Jazz Week, where we had 9 concerts in the 1 week. We had our guest artist concert, Scott Whitfield, who is a trombonist primarily in Los Angeles, but he also has a New York big band, and he brought down his charts. He also sings, and his wife Ginger sang with him, and that was about 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But we're all ready to go on Christmas break now.
Yeah, exactly.
I leave for the Virgin Islands tomorrow.
Excellent.
So,
well, that sounds like a great way to celebrate the holidays.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the holidays, do you have any favorite holiday Christmas music that you particularly like to listen to or play or direct?
Well, primarily, I've been playing in a brass quintet called West Wind Brass, and that always does. It's funny, but Christmas and Easter feature brass instruments a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Myself as a trombone player, I end up playing a lot of brass, mostly more classical.
Right.
But yeah, there's not a whole lot of Christmas music written for a jazz band.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wanted to just again say we're honored to have you here and really appreciate you coming and directing this band and this Ellington Strayhorn Nutcracker music for us at Jazz Live San Diego. Does the music program at State or yourself have an online presence, a URL, something that you'd like to tell people about?
Well, that's just jazz.sdsu.edu.
Excellent. Okay, great. Well, again, thank you so much, Bill, for being with us at Jazz Live San Diego.
Sure. Thanks, Vince.